Vani, I'm coming to you as a member of the CBFC. Can you take up with a state government if they decide to ban a movie? In this case, the government of Bengal.
First, let me put this on record, Maria, that CBFC is a constitutionally constituted body which certifies cinema in India. And we are guided by the Cinematograph Act of 1952, which is also, constituted by the constitution of the country. So the first question that arises is, if CBFC has certified a film, then what is the state government's, prerogative, or what is the reason for doing this? Number one. Number two, the reasons the Honorable Chief Minister has cited is law and order, which is a state subject. Let me say this to you, that since CBFC certifies theatrical releases of films, when somebody goes into a theatre, whether 100 or 500 or 1,000, capacity or theatre, the person goes with the responsibility taken by the government, the exhibitor, the producer, but the law of the land, the state. We are a federal democracy, that his or her safety will be, the state subject. So I just don't understand that CBFC certified the film. It's running successfully all over the country, and she's giving such a strange reason. If there is an agenda behind it, then she should have the courage to also come up with the agenda. Because, whatever her statement is, has not just left me baffled, but also has left the board baffled, which works tirelessly to certify films. Do we look like people who are irresponsible when we've already certified the film and it's running successfully all over the country? There is some kind of a nefarious design and a nefarious agenda to this. And I think in a democracy, this is the most undemocratic thing to do.
Okay, so since you have declared it undemocratic and you are also a member of CBFC, Vani, let me bring in the producer here. Vipul Shah, 50 crore is what the film has already made since its release on Friday. There are two states, that is Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, which have declared that this movie will be tax-free. But the criticism is only growing. The filmmaker has received death threat, you heard from Mr. Sudipto. And there are also likes of Jitendra Awhad, who says that they should be hanged for defaming the women of Kerala.
Okay, let me answer, because I have any questions in this one question. There is no death threat to me or any of my team members here. Yes, precaution is very, very important, and we are cautious, and we are taking all necessary steps if there is any such situation. But as of now, we are not under any kind of threat.
Okay.
As far as Mr. Awhad's comment is concerned, I find it hilarious because he's a lawmaker himself and he knows how law operates. And I'm sure he doesn't mean literally that I should be hanged, right? It's just a political statement. So that's perfectly fine.
So you don't see that as a provocation to his party men?
Sorry, provocation.
Yes.
I don't think that even his party men are, going to really get provoked and say, okay, let's hang Vipul in the, in public. That's not going to happen. So we all know that's just a political statement for effect. There is no merit to it. So it's okay. Fine. I leave it at that. The most important issue for me is that how many people have seen 50 crore amounts to how many people. If the number of people is in excess of 4 million people having seen the film in 4 days, that is just the beginning of the mission that we all had started. We kept saying that we want this issue to become a national issue. We want every family and every girl to see this film and that discuss this issue in depth nationally. And I think in these 4 days, one thing is very clear. With the love, with the emotional connect of the audience to this film, they are going to tell everybody and they are going to send many more people inside the theater. And this subject now cannot be taken lightly. So I think the weekend and the first 4 days has given us that confidence that at least the subject has become a national subject now. So one part of it is done. And yes, the trade has called this film already a all-time blockbuster film, and the trade is hailing it. So it's a great situation, and that we are receiving from the audience who are seeing it on social media, personally on our WhatsApps, to everywhere. People are saying this is the best film they have seen in their whole life. This film has changed their life. It's made such an impact on so many people. You see the videos of the women coming out of the theater and crying. You see the chants that are going on. I heard in one of the shows, there was a chant ke Shalini tum aage badho, hum tumhare saath hai. There was another show where they said Shalini tum badla leke rahogi. Now this kind of emotion and this kind of connect with the character and the film and the story, I think that is huge. So I don't want to get lost into the
I'll ask you, Vipul,
debate.
a question particularly on what does it mean for the Bollywood. But before that, I'll take a quick word also from Vani. Vani, you know, there is a charge that this film, and this is coming from, you know, critics who say that this film is propaganda, and that this claim that has been made by the filmmakers, 32,000, is actually exaggerated number, something that the CBFC should have perhaps ensured in the cuts that you were suggesting. So the question has been raised on the functioning of the board as well.
I cannot let out what all must have transpired between Vipul Ji as a producer and the CBFC. But let me tell you, under the guidelines under which we function, the Cinematograph Act of 1952, 5 things are non-negotiable. One is, if a film will create communal violence or will raise communal temper in the country, national security, if anything which becomes detrimental to peace and harmony and creates societal disturbance, and if it is something which is nefarious in its agenda. So let me say this to you, that the most democratic process of certification is followed in CBFC, Maria, to begin with. Also, the question arises that all kinds of cinema, whether it's on the left or the right or the center political divide of the country, gets made and it gets certified. You must remember how many controversial films the board has faced in the past few years and how tremendous hard work has happened that, you know, those films have harmoniously gone to the people and we certified it. My extreme disappointment is towards this, that on one hand, we scream freedom of speech, we scream free speech, we scream creative freedom in this country. And on another hand, when a board tirelessly works, let me say this to you, this is the first time that there is a CBFC board which has only and only artists, film actors, theatre people, writers, directors, and so on. So now the industry cannot say that it is not represented well. So the disappointment is a sheer hard work that goes into certifying thousands of films gets completely undone when in a federal democracy like ours, one state gets up and does something so undemocratic, which means there is no faith in the constitutional propriety of institutions of this country. I would rather put a challenge back. You don't have faith in CBFC? This is a question I asked tonight on your show as far as the Honorable Chief Minister of the state which has banned the film is. On one hand, you constantly say the only way forward is certification when a theatrical release is done, when public exhibition of cinema is required. On the other hand, you actually do this, which is so undemocratic, which is against the basic tenets of democracy of our country.